Well, that's how it should be, but that's not the preponderance of everything they collect.
Right. The preponderance of the $650,000 in revenues in '07, that was about 20% of what they got. They say they're getting from private organizations. I'm saying if it's coming from a university or a college or a
Enterprise Florida
or an economic development agency that gets a lot of government
Right.
money, I'm saying that's public dollars that just been laundered.
Right, and I'll tell you, Deborah, I have been, and I've kind of noticed it before, but now especially seeing this list, I am surprised at the number of universities who charge my children too much to go to
Yes.
school there,
Yeah.
who have beautifully manicured yards around their universities. I am surprised as they take my tax dollars along with my children's tuition money, how often they are involved in the political system in our community.
Well, we know there's, and I'm not going to mention any names, but we know there's several university units that provide reports, economic development reports.
Yeah, well, one pops in my head right now.
Always seem to back up some convenient facts for the powers that be, as far as we need money for.
It's
economic
interesting.
development.
It's interesting that a quote unquote unbiased investigative group from a university
Right.
makes a $1,500 donation to be a member
Right.
of an economic development organization, and then in turn just happen to be the one that gets called, hey, could
Right.
you do some research for us?
Well, and I have to just slip this in, coming from the College of Liberal Arts, I will say that anything that you get from the College of Business Management, I mean, to begin with, as far as academic credibility is, there's going to be some questions there to begin with.
Well,
sometimes
it's just interesting to me. It's kind of like, hey, we know that you could do a good job in our beauty contest. So pay $1,500 to be a member of the Miss America organization. Right. Then we're going to call you in to judge our beauty contest, and on top of that, we're going to pay your room and board while you judge our beauty contest. I just don't think you get solid answers when you do that kind of stuff.
It's problematic from an academic perspective.
Well, I think it is. But, kind of overall, what I've seen so far, and once again, let me say this. I'm not picking on Florida's Great Northwest. But once again, we see a minimum of well over $4 million.
Yes.
With private contributions that are way less than 20%, and
they couldn't survive without the public contributions.
Right, and potentially when we go through and pull out the colleges, Enterprise Florida, and all the numbers associated with that, it may be less than, maybe in the 10% range. One thing that we noticed with Team Santa Rosa, and it seems to be a commonality in economic development organizations, is it's typically about a 10% private contribution.
Right.
And it's usually about 90% of your tax. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why this is important. This is your tax dollars. Your money is going to organizations such as this who sit around in a circle and decide whom they are going to give your tax dollars to. And that's why
after the salaries and the parties and the perks have been paid for.
Yeah, well, and we're going to let me assure you that we're gonna dig deeper in all this kind
According
of stuff.
to this, this is the only salaried person that's listed on their 2007 990.
Right.
Is Lynn Wenstrand, President Executive Director, makes $133,000.
Right.
Roughly a year.
Now
plus $22,000 in perks.
Now Matt Dixon, the reporter that started this, he gave me the current chairman of this organization with salaries and perks. He's coming in at about $144,000 a year.
Well, then that's just the person that they listed.
Right.
It looks like we have $800,000 in other salaries that are.
That was another point that we certainly want to make on this show. That when you look at this form, and let's clarify this is a form that we received from the IRS,
Well, we got it from GuideStar.
GuideStar, right.
We got it from the IRS.
And you're showing salaries, wages of employees.
Not included on the what I mentioned before,
Right.
$888,000
Right.
in salaries. 800, almost $1 million in salaries in this organization.
So let's look at this again. Now I'm just look, folks. I barely graduated high school, so bear with me as I run through these math problems here. But you take in 4.4 million.
$1 million in salaries.
Private donations are less, is about 650,000 or less. You pay yourselves $1 million. Okay, 25 to 30% of the total income here is going to salaries. Okay, that's what we know for a fact so far, ladies and gentlemen. Deborah, as perusing through some of this,
Another $1 million in undisclosed grants,
Right.
various grants.
right,
Another $1 million.
tell me again about the miscellaneous office expenses.
Oh, let's just find that.
You told me, I think the number
$406,000 office expense. $406,000.
$406,000 office expense.
Yeah. Now
Okay?
that includes a lot of other items.
Yeah, hotel rooms
Right.
and
Let's see.
lease and power.
Conferences, conventions, and meetings, $143K.
Right.
Legal fees, $50K. And then
Oh, so they need a lawyer to protect them
Right.
at $50,000 a year.
exactly, et cetera, et
So-
cetera.
So here we go now. Once again, I barely graduated high school, so $1 million in salaries,
Correct.
$400,000 in miscellaneous office fees.
Office expense. At least about 100,000 in undefined grants.
100,000 in undefined grants,
to various entities.
and very large.
I'm sorry, $1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million in grants.
And very large deposits to banks in the areas where
Yeah.
the money's staying in there so long that this organization is
Well-
making interest off the money.
Let's just go to that column from the 2007 again 990 report. Interest on savings and temporary cash investments, $15,000.
Right.
$15,000, $699.
So now your tax dollars has been converted into their tax
They're
dollars.
making money.
And the money is being held in a bank, not being used on
Right.
someone at such a volume that $15,000 worth of interest
Right.
was earned on that.
Don't forget they're a nonprofit though.
In there.
Here is the elephant in the room question. Here is the question that trumps all other questions. And that is, where are the jobs that they've created from all this money and that Team Santa Rosa has created, that Enterprise Florida has created, et cetera, with all these millions of our tax dollars that are not going to blacktop roads and improve the port, et cetera, where are the jobs that they created with
Right.
this income, with this revenue?
Well, I'm with you, Deborah. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I think you know us well enough to know this is a subject that is shovel ready.
It is shovel
And
ready.
we're going to get the shovel out and
It
we're
is.
going to shovel it till we find all the
We're going
answers.
to be shoveling.
We're going to be shoveling. You are correct, Deborah. This is first pass at this. There's a lot more information for us to pull out. Once again, we want to thank Matt Dixon for standing up at the Panama City newspaper and writing some good stories about this. And we hope that we get all the answers for you, but most importantly, we want your tax dollars to be transparent and accountable to you. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Good night.
It is setting us up to be sunshine, and it takes in consideration the various appointees by the commission. So I just want to kind of give you all that heads up. I don't want to sneak ahead on the agenda, but you need to know that.
I think the point is, this is the second knowledgeable guy, attorney that's come and spoke to us. Both have essentially said the same thing, that all facts considered, now coupled with the state attorney's opinion, that to me it's fruitless just to keep arguing the point. I